Hello and welcome to the In Between Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Score, and I'm joined by Tony Tones at RT. This week,
Hello.
we're going to be looking at Skibidi, Toilet Legal Riz, and Bonking Quake. Did you check out the show notes, Tony? Anything you wanted to talk about this week? Every time I say it's
I had
a
a couple
short
stuff,
news,
yeah.
there's a small news week. That means it's going to be
There's
a
a lot.
4-hour long week. So
Yeah. Please don't get two.
indefinitely delayed.
Indefinitely. Yeah.
Delayed. I
went
just
to
feel
the-
like
just mentioned
Paradox
Fallout
is
London,
making
and that's
a
my two things.
Paradox is making a lot of interesting choices, I would say.
Well, I don't know. Is there a decision they've recently made that's been good? Because I can't think of one in like the last year.
Canceling when they cancelled the console port of City Skylines 2, that was probably a good idea.
Yeah, I will actually I'll give you that one. Yeah, that was causing issues.
I mean, I would have loved to have seen City Skylines coming out on like a PS4 or something. That would have been amazing to see.
Well, I think I think it will exist one day, but like trying to like force it like very close to the PC release, I don't think makes any sense considering your core audience is on PC, and it was like delaying other stuff, especially when you release a broken game.
World of Good 2 just came out, and then I was like, why is it not on my releases? And then I checked, and I was like, oh, it came out on the Epic Games Store. And I was like, I don't want to talk about the Epic Games Store.
It's not really out.
It's not really out yet. I just found it so funny still to this day that people are like, finally, Kingdom Hearts is on PC when it wasn't an Epic exclusive anymore.
Yeah. What is it the Avatar game that was like it's not out on PC or something? I can't
remember. It went out on Epic and Uplay because Epic has a thing where if you release exclusively for at least 6 months, they'll give you a bunch of money.
Yeah, and Ubisoft needs the money.
God damn it. RTX Voice needs to. It's not called NVIDIA Broadcast needs to train the webcam model on more air conditioning units because it still thinks the tube to my air conditioning unit is a person. I don't know why, but it always cuts it out as a person.
Yeah, well, they just haven't. They've just misidentified in their training model. It's like, yeah, these are people. Air conditioners are people.
But don't worry, guys. I killed that person in the background.
Do they think it's a droid?
Maybe if I would say maybe if I wrote feedback, they would add that. But I wrote feedback about RTX HDR being broken, and I didn't get any response. So
yeah, I don't think they care.
I don't think they care. But speaking of Square Enix, we're talking about Kingdom Hearts just releasing on PC. I've just completed Final Fantasy VII and the DLC, the remake of Final Fantasy VII, which was, an Epic Games Store exclusive for a year. Nobody bought it there, and then it came to Steam, and everybody got it. I have a lot to say about Final Fantasy VII, a remake, Integrate, and the DLC as well. Right? There will be a big tangerine. I've also been playing Venba. Venba was one of those games that was going off Game Pass, and it was going off the next day. And I knew it was very short. It was about 1 or 2 hours long, and I was not ready for Venba. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
The game is really fucking good. I was not expecting it to resonate with me as much as it did. I've also been playing Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. I think we briefly talked about this on the Nintendo Direct, but basically it's a speedrunning game where it gives you challenges to complete in a certain amount of time of old NES games. It's really fun. Okay. I've also been playing Mario Tennis Aces, which is the Mario Switch tennis game with super slams and magical powers and stuff.
Oh, that one, yeah, that looks really good.
Cat Quest 2, still been playing multiplayer with a friend. Pretty much at end game now, I think.
Okay.
And I've also watched Carol and Tuesday, which is not a game. It is another show from Watanabe and Yoko Kanno that is about rock music this time, Tony. It's a whole new genre of music.
Yeah, it's always a different one.
Yeah, which I love. But anything on the list you're particularly interested in hearing about?
Well, I guess I don't know what Vemba is at all. So
okay, let's talk about Vemba. We do need to do a full tangerine on Vemba.
Yeah,
but if I describe Vemba to you and I tell you how it made me feel, you'd be like, confused, but hold on, trust me. Vemba
Trust me.
is a point-and-click cooking simulator about a Indian family that immigrates to Canada in the 1980s.
Okay.
And this game made me fucking cry. I was so like upset about this game. I was like, this game is so like emotionally resonating with me on a crazy deep level. Because I think like the thing about Vemba is it's not just like a story for immigrants. It's not just a story for people from India or Canada. It's not just it's like it's Vemba at its heart is a human story. And I think that's what's like really beautiful about it. The main gameplay is like you're essentially going through this recipe book of because you play as the mother character and she's going through her mother's cookbook, but some of the instructions are missing, so you kind of have to. It's sort of like a light puzzle, like point and click game. You're basically just trying to cook Indian dishes, but I was getting like flashbacks because I had to make a biryani, and I literally. At one point in school, I was studying food because I was like thinking about becoming a chef, and I literally made a biryani for like one of my projects of like my cooking exam sort of things. And I was like, I remember you put tomatoes in this. I remember like the lentils and stuff like that. But I was like, I don't remember the exact ingredients or exactly how you're supposed to make it. But I'm a big fan of Indian food, and it was because through Vemba, you get to hear like they play like Indian music, and you get to see like loads of different Indian dishes. And Indian dishes are super popular in the UK because we also have like a huge influx of Indian immigrants in the UK, thanks to colonialism from the British Empire.
Well, well, I think to some extent there's some good there, where we have they have an easier time immigrating over as well. So I think there's some good that came out of it. But yeah, it was primarily originally from
but like
being a colony of the empire.
One of them, the like unofficial national dish of the UK is a chicken tikka. Like curry is super popular in the UK.
Yeah. So probably we made our own UK version.
Yeah. But yeah, this game is like 1 or 2 hours long, and I would recommend anyone to play it. It's a really cool game. I was not expecting this to be as impactful as it was, but really, really awesome. It's super simple and it's super short, but it punches way above its weight.
It's just a very emotional story, or a very human experience story.
Yeah, I would recommend.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it was on Game Pass until a couple of days ago, and then it went off, so you can no longer play this on Game.
How long was it on Game Pass for? When did it actually come out?
It came out last year, so I think it was on there for like a year, sort of thing. Okay. But I like to check games that are going off Game Pass, and until recently I've been kind of disappointed with some of the games I played going off Game Pass, but this is one of the first ones where I was like, holy shit, this game's really good. I'm really glad I played this before it went off, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because I heard good things about it, which is the reason I played it. But yeah, so that's Venba. Let's move on to trailers. Jump King Quest gameplay reveal. So Jump King is one of the most popular, I guess you would call them getting over it sort of games, like streamer rage bait games. I don't know what the genre's called. Masochist games.
Deliberately hard platform. I don't know, or like frustrating platforming.
You know what? Immediately when I was watching this trailer, you know what it reminded me of? It almost reminded me of Trine in some way. So it seems that they're adding co-op. There's like an optional co-op element.
In terms of the style and the co-op, you see Trine.
Well, because you know when in Trine you would have someone jump on the top of your shield.
Yeah.
That was the part I was like, oh yeah, this was really, and like the art style as well specifically, because they've gone from 2D pixel art to like this very overbloomed like 3D style art. It seems like
almost like little models moving around, like a very detailed, gritty. Yeah,
but it looks like
saturated.
Each one of the character has their own unique role. Like you have the guy with the shield, you have the guy with the sword and the arrows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like that we're getting more co-op version of these games, because I said earlier this
Yes.
year, I was saying, oh, Chained Together was really fun because it was like a co-op game that was hard. But from everything they said, I was like, maybe this is not the game for me. I think they said this is basically designed to be harder than the first game, and I don't think they said there was any plans for like a checkpoint system or an easy mode.
Okay,
So I was like, I don't think that would really be for me
I
then.
think you need at least an option of that, I think, even if it's not the default mode, in my opinion.
So dynamic multiplayer system where players encounter each other as they move through the game world. Okay, so it's more like an open multiplayer thing. Then I thought it was more of a co-op thing.
Right. Doesn't have the co-op tag then.
Complete changes that combine the original Jump King platforming with a novel yet fully fledged fighting system. Anyone you can meet could be a friend or foe. So it's almost like summoning someone in Dark Souls. They could help you or hinder you.
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to be more Souls-likey, I guess.
I suppose. I'm not sure if that will play out for them or not, but yeah.
Leveling system that ensures extended replayability and considerable player expression. But yeah, I think there was a blog post. There was actually a streamer that released one of these games recently.
Really? Okay.
It was at the OTK Game Festival. I think it literally just released.
Oh.
Unrooted, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I forgot to put it on releases, but Unrooted just came out. It's made by a bunch of mods for the streamer Mizkif, who's a member of OTK, which is the big streaming collective. But it actually looked pretty fun. But from my understanding of what he said, currently it's got no checkpoints, and he was asking, because I saw him streaming it for a bit, and he was asking if people would want an easy mode with checkpoints, and I think that it would be a place where I would consider playing a game like this, but if it doesn't have it right now, I'm not really that interested. Like, I get it. There's a sense of accomplishment and achievement for overcoming your struggles, but
I think you start learning it with checkpoints, then you then go into that, is my feeling. Like, you start with the checkpoints and then you go to a can I do it in one go sort of thing.
That's what I did with Chained Together, is I played through the game in the easy mode with my friends. And then I went and I did
the map.
And then I went and I just tried to speedrun it by myself as quickly as possible without the checkpoint system sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Unrooted just came out like 2 days ago. Jump King's expansion's coming out. It seems like there is a demand for these sort of precision platformers, I guess you would call them. See, I've never been a big fan of precision platformers. Like, famously, I don't really like Crash Bandicoot. Like, I've played through the entire first game, and I played some of the second game, and I was like, I don't like this. I think one of the only precision platformers that really won me over was Celeste. Celeste really changed my mind on precision platformers in terms of that game. But yeah, I think it's a tough thing to break into. Next up, we have Jackbox, the Naughty Pack edition, Tony. Here it is.
Right.
If you've ever played Jackbox with a bunch of friends who are, adults, you'll be very familiar with them just adding their own, sexual innuendo and stuff like that. And basically, Jackbox was like, well, why don't we make games that are tailored to make you do that sort of thing? And I think that this idea is quite compelling for people. I think this is something I would like to play with my friends. Like, what was one of the games? They showed like a photo of salami, and they were like, which one looks like would belong to somebody called Daddy or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
stuff like
pretty good.
that, like stupid shit that obviously they wouldn't put it in the more family friendly version, but when you play it with a bunch of your adult friends, then it should be pretty fun. I wanted to talk about it later. Maybe I'll talk about it now. They just released the Jackbox Mega Picker. So basically, my friend owns like every Jackbox game, and it's always like, oh, you want to play this game? That's in Jackbox Party Pack 2. There's another version in this Jackbox. And if you want to play this game, you have to go into this, and you're constantly launching different games to find specific games. What they've done now is they've released this tool called the Jackbox Mega Picker, and it basically allows you to add all of your Jackbox games into one launcher, and it will basically launch that specific game when you search for it, or you can favorite ones that you like. So using Steam's App ID system, they've basically made it so it will launch directly into that game. So it'll go past it won't just launch the game. It will skip past that, and it will directly launch the actual game itself. I'm fairly sure you would have to. I haven't tested this yet, but I'm fairly sure you would have to have the games already installed for this to work.
I would assume so. I assume it has a special launch option to launch directly to a game mode as well.
Yeah.
In some sort of update as well.
Yeah, it launches the respective pack, but just the game from it instead of launching the whole pack. Yeah. So it will work with rich presents and achievements. But Makes sense. So there's a lot of Jackbox games now, and I think I own a couple of them as well. But this is going to make it way easier to search through them all, because I do like to play through a bunch of the Jackbox game with friends, and it's like, I want to play this specific game, and it's like, which Jackbox is that in? But I think this is a much better experience for people. Apparently, I heard this breaks it on Steam Deck, so this is not Steam Deck verified yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people are saying this is people are saying it straight up caused their Steam Deck to break their Steam Deck.
Interesting.
I want you to be made aware that we have resolved the boot loop issue regarding Steam Deck.
Boot loop issue? Okay.
A small subset of Steam Deck users experienced a boot loop if they restarted their Steam Deck after launching the Jackbox Mega Picker. But they were doing so basically how it works is any Jackbox game you own will be added to this, and any new ones you purchase you can add to this as well. And I think they were offering a free copy of Drawful 2 if you wishlisted it or if you install it in the first couple of weeks. I'll check on that if there's information. But they were giving away one of the games for free for using it, so they are trying to get people to use it because they know this will make people more likely to play Jackbox, but also know it's a great way to advertise new Jackbox games to people as well, is through this.
This is kind of what I've always wanted, though, making this in a way. This kind of makes all the games and new games coming out to be standalones and then almost DLC.
Yeah,
in a way, this kind of makes it exactly what I wanted. Whether the price makes sense for you is one thing, but that's a personal thing. So this is the way I wanted it to work.
I think this is a great idea, and I'm glad that they've finally done this.
So good.
As someone who has Jackbox games installed on their Steam Deck, though, I would like to see Steam Deck verification or a way of getting it working on Steam Deck, because that's how I do my Jackbox stuff.
Steam Deck is great for party stuff.
There's a brand new free DLC for Power Wash Simulator. Speaking of nautical themes, last podcast, you can now clean a cruise ship. Tony, do you know what the Upside Down Pineapple Club is? This is something I've learned about recently. Okay.
I have no idea what that means.
I was watching a stream and somebody had just been on honeymoon and they were talking about going on a cruise, and they were like, I just learned about the Upside Down Pineapple Club. And I was like, what does that mean? Apparently, if you have an upside down pineapple on your door on a cruise, it means you're down for swinging, apparently. So
what?
Yeah, the Upside Down Pineapple Club. There it is.
Okay, is that like the Rise and Idol? It's like I'm down. Just like you show that you're willing to have sex. I always my Star Trek reference.
The Riser Idol. When you put on, they put it on Captain. They put it on Captain Picard's table because they're like, we need to get him.
Well, Riker gave him one. It's like, you need to have this, and it's like he got fooled by his head, then hide it. Yeah. It's like, but you have the idol out, sir.
Yeah. I thought you said Ryzen idle, and I'm like, are you talking about
No,
like a
no.
fucking BIOS tool right now? Like, what the fuck are you on about?
No. Well, as you all know, AMD love Sartre, that's why I call it
That
Ryzen.
is true, yeah. But yeah, I haven't played this yet. I was going to play this. I'll probably play this with my Power Wash buddies in the next couple of days and tell you about it. Apparently, they accidentally also released another free update early, and some people were
What?
able to play it. I think it was a Bitcoin mansion or something like that.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, as part of the Muckingham files.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really understand, but okay. So that's going to be in a coming up podcast. We'll talk about that, I guess.
Yeah. Let's move on to announcements. Chivalry 2 has announced that the game is feature complete. With the Regicide update, we consider Chivalry 2 to be content and feature complete. So there will be no more content updates to Chivalry 2. And I think
DLC,
the game's been out for 2 years. Well, basically, I don't know if you remember, but we talked about this at the E3 stuff. They're working on No More Room in Hell, the hardcore zombie survival game.
Yeah.
And they said
the one I said it should be medieval zombies. But
well, they have confirmed that they are going to be working on a brand new game as well in the Chivalry universe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're not done working on Chivalry stuff.
Zombies, though. Chivalry Zombies would be great DLC. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
And
it says it's something multiplayer as well. It says multiplayer projects in the Chivalry universe, as well as terrifying new co-op, which is No More Room in Hell 2.
Okay.
So they're still working on stuff, just not actively developing new stuff for Chivalry 2. I have a friend who had Game Pass but only played Chivalry 2.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you've had this for years. Why don't you just buy the game? You would be saving so much money right now.
Well, didn't he finally do it because of the rising prices for Game Pass?
The prices of Game Pass were rising, and I was like, dude, it's on sale on Steam. Just buy the game.
Yeah. And he was saying, he's like, oh, I have to like he was saying, oh, the downside is I have to like level up, or not level up, and unlock everything again. I'm like, you say that as a downside? Is that not positive? Because you just always play it.
Yeah. But he's like level 200 or something, so he's always like one of the
not anymore.
Levels. Well, I said to him, I was like, well, I've got 20 hours on Steam of Chivalry 2. You've only got 6. I'm sort of a bigger Chivalry 2 player than you right now, Because I never play it that often. I like playing it as there's a subset of games that I love playing casually where I'm never good enough to be serious about them, but could play enough that I enjoy them. Like there's that sweet spot, Like for me, those games are like Chivalry 2, Rocket League, Overwatch 2 as well. I've been like dipping in and out of that recently, and just being like going back, playing enough where I'm like, yeah, this is fun, but never being like, oh, I feel like I need to get better at it. I'll just be like, nah, I'm gonna play something else.
How long do those spurts last? Like a day, like a couple of days, and then you
depends.
Continue on, or
usually those sort of multiplayer games, I'll be playing them because I'll be playing them with one of my friends who plays those games.
Yeah.
It's
just in all those cases that you read out, we have a friend that always plays it, or at least one friend that always plays that game. So I'm just curious, like how long you play it for.
Just as long as they want to play it, I guess, or as long as I get bored.
As long as you're not bored, that's fair.
Let's move on to delays. Prison Architect 2 indefinitely delayed, Tony.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
We don't know much about it, so I don't know.
Well, wasn't it supposed to launch soon? Weird. When was it originally?
That's what confuses me as well. But wasn't it launching soon in early
initial release date, the 3rd of September 2024. Okay, so it says here, September 3rd.
Wasn't it releasing into early access though, right?
Yeah, so they said we need to improve both the game's performance and its content. Continuous... Because isn't Bloodlines the Masquerade 2 in indefinite delay right now as well?
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
No idea what the hell's happening with that game. No. Yeah, but basically, it just seems like the game's not finished. There's nowhere near finished.
Yeah.
It's a shame because it seems like ever since Paradox bought Prison Architect, they haven't really done anything particularly interesting with the game yet, right?
I was talking to Scrum talks about this. Like when they first, at the time when they bought, or it became under their publishing, like sort of like arm, I suppose. It was like, oh, this is a good thing because Paradox was doing good stuff at the time. But as time has gone on, Paradox hasn't been doing any good decisions, at least for the customer. Like maybe fine for like union stuff and like employees, but for like the player base, like I feel like they've made some really poor decisions. So like it's not. It now feels like a bad move to have done that. So yeah, not enthralled by anything from Paradox at the moment.
So apparently, anyone who's pre-ordered the game will be refunded, and the option to pre-order the game will be removed, and the bonus will instead be added to the base game for all players. And they said, why is it taking so long to fix the game? Prison Architect is a game with deep systems that interact with each other, and this is also something we want to bring with us into the sequel. Prison Architect 2 having systems like this in a game also means that a small change in one area will also affect one more other area, which we also need to apply fixes to. Improving the performance has proven to be a task that will take time. My sus is they saw how City Skylines 2 launched, and people went, it performs awfully, and it has less features than the first game. And they're going, oh shit, Prison Architect 2 performs worse than the first game and has less features, and that's probably why they've delayed it.
Just to add extra to City Skylines 2, like I think you're always going to have less than the previous game with all its DLC, but like you have like core features of the new game that are like completely different to the first game, and if those don't work, then like what the hell is the point? Yeah, you need to make the core thing that makes you differentiate work. So like you want to copy was it called Kingdom Crusade 3? No, CK
Kingdom
Crusade,
Come Deliverance? What are you talking about?
No. CK3.
The Paradox
that's
game.
what you want to have. Yeah, it's Paradox game. CK3 is like, it was like, obviously it's going to have less stuff than all the DLC of the CK2, but it had like really distinct new features that weren't in those, and the people liked them. So that's what you want to aim for. Like you release it working.
Yeah.
Don't release it not working.
And then we have another huge one is Avowed. Was supposed to be so both Avowed and Indiana Jones are two of the biggest games coming out.
Yep.
Previously coming out this year. Avowed has been delayed. Avowed to early 2025. They've said so many games are coming. As such, we're moving Avowed to February 18th, 2025 to give players backlogged some breathing room. My response to that is, are these so many Xbox games in the room with us right now? Because I'm looking around going, what fucking games are they on about?
I think they think about other industry games, not from Microsoft.
But I'm looking at Game Pass and I'm going, we've had some big hitters. We've had Little Kitty Big City. We've had Moving Out 2 was added. I mean... there was that Capcom game got added. Still wakes the.
Seems considering a lot of people's complaints is like the new stuff is not coming out quick enough. It's like it seems a bit sus that I feel like it's just the game's not polished or not fixed enough. Like it's broken still.
I don't want them to release a buggy, broken game, unfinished game.
No,
but
absolutely not.
Their reason is so fucking dumb. I don't think
be honest about it.
I don't think it has anything to do with the
schedule.
That's PR stuff.
We obviously don't know, but yeah, my sus is that's not the real reason. I wish they were honest about it, but we don't actually know if it's incorrect. So it does seem sus though,
because they're announcing a bunch of stuff at Gamescom, Microsoft and Tony.
Yeah,
they've announced Avowed's been delayed. Indiana Jones still is coming 2024. We still do not know when.
I'm pushing X out on that one.
When it's actually coming out, because that's one of the big games that is actually coming out on Game Pass according to Xbox.
I could be wrong, but normally when you like get 6 months away, you have like a really big marketing push, and like you have like confirmed dates, and if not before then. So the fact we don't have that, I just don't see that working out.
because Xbox announced they're doing a bunch of stuff for Gamescom. Gamescom is happening in like the 21st of this month, so in like 3 weeks' time. And then they'll be like, oh, we'll have individual stuff to announce about that. But man, waiting 3 weeks to hear when Indiana Jones is actually going to be announced, like, surely by this point we should have a release date. Like, it feels...
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
I don't know.
At least a release date. Because I can appreciate there's different marketing schemes, like you want to be quiet and like suddenly release it. But you still, as a big publisher, you want to at least have a date that people can like keep an eye on and have in their head.
Yeah.
So...
But yeah, we'll see what happens. Also, Stalker 2 has been delayed as well.
Is this the delay week?
I think Stalker 2 has been delayed several times as well.
Oh
right?
yeah, I think this is like the third time, isn't it?
Yeah. But basically, they said there's a bunch of bugs that they need to fix, so it's been delayed from September 5th to November 20th.
At least they're being honest about it.
Yeah, they're basically like, "Hey, we need 2 months to fix the bugs. We're just going to delay it for a couple of months."
Yeah, and I guess it was they thought they had enough time. They didn't. We have to do it for longer. Bugs taking longer. That's basically what they're saying. That makes sense. What's wrong with that?
Well, you see, they had to delay it to November because there was just such a stacked roster of releases.
It was just so stacked. We couldn't possibly release it in that environment.
Yeah, I think. Wait, I think isn't Stalker 2 coming to Game Pass? I think it is going to be a day one release. Yeah, so Stalker 2 is one of the Game Pass I guess, guys. I guess this is one of the releases that meant that Avowed got delayed because they had to fix some bugs. Okay, and then we have releases. Conscript came out, which Conscript is basically like a Resident Evil-ish like survival horror game where you play as a soldier in World War One. Apparently, it's very good from what I've heard. But it's like a very interesting way of doing it. Instead of having like zombies, you just show like the real horrors of war. And like in like World War One, it was very much like trench fighting. So you had that very like close range sort of fighting, and it's all very depressing. Like trench foot and that sort of stuff. That's what people are saying about it.
Also chemical stuff was still a thing then because it wasn't banned yet.
Somebody says, fantastic horror game. I would admit I went to this assuming there would be some sort of supernatural element to discover that World War One is horrific enough without any ghosts or monsters. I really commend the dev for choosing to go this route instead of adding zombies or something. It gives the game's distinction. So it's like, I think it's really interesting because you're going for that classic like survival horror stuff where it's usually like zombies or supernatural creatures. But it's being like, well, no, war is horrific enough. It's sort of like the Impressionist movement.
I think
you've ever heard of that.
In terms of games, like obviously there's like an artistic or like a cool factor to like using like zombies and like supernatural monsters and stuff. But I almost feel like sometimes it's chosen because like it's easier to kill monsters than it is other humans or like see other human horrific stuff. But like if you're actually trying to show horrific stuff, yeah, maybe it makes sense to actually show the horrific stuff to make the point.
There was like, am I thinking of that? What was it called? There
are definitely arm movement from that. Yeah, I
studied it in film school. But basically, like, there was a bunch of like the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, right? Where it's basically like, it's really like horrifying, but it's being like, and really out there. But the idea was to be like, well, it was made during like World War One. It's to be like, well, this is the sort of fucked up stuff that's happening when you send like young men to go and die in the World War, basically.
Yeah. It's this bad.
Quintessential work of the German expressionistic cinema. There we go.
Yeah, because war was almost it's a good thing to go to war before that point. I feel like
expressionistic. I think is what I'm looking for, not impressionistic. Sorry, I need to brush up my art terms when I talk about the World War game. Then we have, speaking of war, Into the Radius 2. is a immersive VR survival shooter set in the realms of a surreal landscapes and deadly entities known as the Peshawk Anomaly. So this is sort of like a
to do this.
stalker VR game. Oh, what are you doing?
I'm just resubscribing.
Woo! There it is, baby! I actually don't know if I have... I think I have the Twitch alerts on this scene, so it should pop up.
Eventually.
Yeah, we'll see. You remember you need to press the button that says share this in the chat.
I'll share the load.
Share the load, Mr. Frodo, yeah.
There we go, let's do that.
Yeah, baby!
Right. There's Moist Critical. There you go. Then. Turns at RT, thank you for the sub.
No, thank Jeff Bezos for the free sub.
Thanks, Jeff.
Included in my Prime. It's not free; it's included.
So look, it's like it's like a post-apocalyptic sort of like stalker-ish. What's the other game called? Metro Exodus-y kind of Metro-y game.
Yeah.
That sort of style. VR game, and it's a sequel to a previous one that I own but I have not played. In its current state, the game is alright but leans heavily towards meh. Visuals look good, guns feel good. Being able to have different loadouts on mag pouches and holsters is awesome. Different sized backpacks is a nice progression piece. Everything looks very basic or generic. The world is too clean. The base layout is super boring compared to the Radius 1, which came off as being gritty and having a cool Metro game vibe to it. The controls felt weird. Tutorials and instructions were not great. The bad ammo scarcity is gone. I was swimming in ammo. The cool immersive VR stuff is gone. Going through an empty house and pulling off every drawer, opening every cupboard. Nope. Missing features like melee weapons, weapon maintenance. The game feels like it doesn't add or bring anything new. I'm confident the devs will sort everything out in time. So it seems like it's okay at the moment, but it's still early access sort of thing.
It sounds like a lot of that is balancing, to be honest, like spawns and like world loot balance.
Yeah, I know. People, when it comes to these survival games, people like having like super high ammo scarcity and like scavenging around for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you don't want high scarcity. Like, you should need like some sort of scarcity. It's like, imagine a Resident Evil, but like it's just the ammo's everywhere. Like, it wouldn't make any sense. Like, that's the whole point. But yeah, I guess it's even more important in these games.
Well, I think a big thing with this one was they added co-op. I don't think there was co-op in the first game.
So that's a Sony feature.
Yeah, which if you can get somebody to play co-op VR with you, that is an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
It's hard
maybe you just got VR buds.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you met each other in VR chat and you're just looking for more VR games to play together.
Maybe that's how people work. I don't know.
Yeah.
7 days. As a non-VR person.
Go on. Finish the sentence. As a
non-VR person, I just look at this as an outsider, so I don't have any thing to say. I don't know. I don't have a point of view that I think is valid.
7 Days to Die has come out of early access, so it has officially got the 1.0 release. I have played this for apparently 60 hours. I don't actually.
It's been years.
Yeah, this game has been an early... So you can look at the early access release date on a store page on Steam. 2013 this game came out. It's been on early access for 11 years.
So that's before Space Engineers was in early access, right?
We don't talk about Space Engineers on this podcast.
No, but it came out. Like, the biggest thing was when is Space Engineers ever coming out of early access? And this is even longer. So 11 years.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm very confused by the screenshots because I haven't played since a couple years ago, and I remember that famously the screenshots on the store page of 7 Days to Die were very misleading in the past, and I don't know if this is what the game actually looks like now or they're still very misleading. Because I felt the game didn't look like this when I played it. It definitely looked a lot worse than this.
Yeah, I remember it looking worse and more blocky.
Let's see if anyone's given a real review that's not a meme.
And it's positive reviews, right? Like, people seem to like this game.
Yeah, I also like this game. It's really fun. It's just I just played the multiplayer.
I kind of like the idea. I like the idea, but it seems like it gets into a really boring Well, I think the people I watched play at least like seemed to get like a really boring sailor that didn't interest me.
I think the interesting thing is you get to do that whole early access survival crafting thing where you get to build up a base, but it has a purpose to it because every 7 days you have like the blood moon and you get the zombies that attack you.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Like every night is also scary, but then like the 7th night is like terrifying.
Adds that constant pressure to it.
But you do that on a week, but it then becomes like an in-game weekly basis. Where it's like, and like you keep going after that. It's like I think what I watched is like people going like really far with it. Maybe that was the issue. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's like cool stuff to do after that point where you can, because a big thing is exploration in 7 Days to Die.
Yeah,
and then you can start to build like go-karts and like helicopters and stuff like that, and you can start to explore like more. And
that's I think.
There's areas like that are really cold and you need to like wrap up to keep warm, and there's like desert areas where you need to make sure you don't get too hot. Like there is interesting stuff.
What's the progression for that though? Like what you try?
There's a leveling system, so there's like a RPG tech tree sort of thing in 7 Days to Die.
I just want like a more tangible mechanical. That's fine, like that would help it. But I need like a goal to aim for to make those mechanics.
At least, like from what I understand of what I've played of 7 Days, it's really like no story sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need a story. I just need like small stories that you can see from the like environmental storytelling sort of thing. Like I don't need like a proper story. I just need a goal that makes sense with an interesting environmental story or possibility of that. That's random or something.
One of my favorite survival games of all time is Raft, and Raft's really cool because you have this constant like your base is constantly at threat as you're building it because you constantly have a shark attacking it. Destroying pieces of it, so you have to keep expanding or until you can eventually get to a point where you start to build like reinforced pieces that the shark can't attack, and you strategically build around that in order to like build a strong enough platform that you can start to survive. And then you're like, well, I guess in a game like 7 Days to Die, you eventually will get a base that is strong enough to withhold the horde, and it's like, where do you go from there? But the cool thing about Raft was it had this heavy story element where it constantly like, oh, let's get to the new story island and figure out what's going on, and there's a new boss fight, there's a new item and that sort of stuff.
Mechanics would then feed you into the new goal.
I feel like you can get to a point in 7 Days to Die, it's like, the base is fairly safe. I'm kind of just going out to go out sort of thing.
That's what I saw, but maybe they've added more stuff over the years to make it better. I don't know.
But I could see like...
But people like it though, so...
I like the game, and I have
The premise is cool, and the first 7 days are going to be cool regardless, I think. So it depends what you want out of it, I suppose.
But I have seen friends expressed interest in playing this again, so maybe I'll play it at some point.
And clearly had enough sales over the years to like keep going for all this time, so they clearly had enough people investing into it, or quote unquote invest into it to make us continue on development wise.
And then we have Earth Defense Force 6 came out.
Oh yeah, I did see this come out.
I think people were saying like the previous game was better. So I've never played Earth Defense Force, but I'm very interested in this. It sort of seems like
it seems crazy.
It seems like anime, like Helldivers almost, where it's like defend the world from like giant creatures in like the most over the top way.
Yeah, I love it for that.
It looks absolutely ridiculous, but let's see what people are saying. I do not want to log into Epic. I am on Steam. Okay, so another game where they forced Epic integration on the Steam version.
Why? It's not. What's wrong with Steam servers? Oh my god.
You no longer have to hold down the run button. EDF 6 pushing the limits of technology, but still fun to play. Same EDF goodness as always. Haven't had any bugs, performance, no issues either with linking to my Epic games. It's like 5, but better performance, better graphics. Not too many people play this game for its deep evolving storyline. It's simply better in every way. Yeah, because I know this is a big co-op thing. Like, I would like to play this co-op with some friends. I think that would be fun.
I feel like early EDFs didn't have co-op, and then like 3 onwards or something had it.
I know the later ones definitely had.
The later ones definitely did.
Co-op.
I think I'd be willing to play as co-op for sure. It looks just like hilariously over the top.
I think there was
Maybe
like
maybe
a
five
humble
better.
bundle or something that had
Yeah.
this in it, and I almost picked it up, but I didn't. I think I decided not to in the end. But I'm curious to try these.
Yeah.
Are they Japanese games? Earth.
I don't know.
Defense.
I don't actually know.
They seem Japanese, but I actually have no idea.
I could believe it, but
based on the fact the blurb of the game on Google is telling me what the game is known as in Japan, I'm guessing it is a Japanese game. Known in Japan as Chiku Boigan. It's got a bunch of accents on the words, so I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce this.
Yeah. You're not French.
That's true.
Okay, this is a complete tangerine. But like traditionally, like Western versions of Japanese stuff gets like a Western name that's not like a direct translation, and people get annoyed. I'm gonna be honest with you. I kind of like all of the westernized names. I prefer Yakuza over Like a Dragon. I prefer Astro Boy opposed to whatever it is in Japan.
Yeah, it's Like a Dragon now, though. They've changed the Western
I know,
name.
but to me, Yakuza is way cooler because I don't have any cultural context of what Like a Dragon means. But Yakuza, that's a cool gang thing.
Right.
I just feel like I agree with the original translators and like the original like cultural like translation for the name to the title. Like I think they actually did a good job. I disagree. Like I think if you're an enthusiast, you would just call it by the Japanese name anyway, so you don't need to be concerned about the popular name, in my opinion, because I just gel with the westernized name far more.
It's just whatever name you know it as, right?
Yeah, no, but like now, I don't think I would have gone into it if it was called Like a Dragon originally. Like Yakuza, like that to me immediately makes sense to me like what it is about. Like a Dragon, I have like someone had to explain it to me first. Whereas Yakuza, I know exactly what it's about. Sure, I didn't know about the over top stuff, but I know it's a gang thing.
Yeah, but Earth Defense Force. Any of the other games on sale? No, just this one because it's released. How expensive are the other ones? Earth Defense 4 is only like £15. Maybe I should pick this one up.
It's quite old, isn't it, now, though?
Came out in 2016.
Yeah. 8 years old. Why is it? Wait, what's the decimal point?
4.1. Is this the DLC or is this the base game? I don't know.
I don't know.
Honestly, no idea where you would even start with Earth Defense Force.
I don't think it matters. I think it's just go into one.
Next up, let's talk about Fallout London release, one of the biggest, most anticipated Fallout mods since... What was the name of that New Vegas one? Fallout...
Oh, good damn. Yeah.
I can't remember, I'll be honest with you. The one that came out and people were like, the developers have weird features they've put inside of the mod.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, it's not that good. Fallout London, I've heard people saying that it's pretty decent. It seems like they've actually done a good job of translating a game very heavily ingrained into American culture into weird like British culture. They've reskinned a lot of stuff. I've only seen like brief gameplay of like the start of the game where you have like a Pip-Boy radio. You don't have like a Pip-Boy on your arm, and there's different variations of because they've developed this technology separately from
as
Vault
the British
Tech, I
would
guess.
do.
Yeah.
And we were known for our radios back then, so that makes a lot of sense.
So what I've heard about this is, do you have a review page on it? Oh, user reviews, it does. So I think people are saying you might need to download additional mods to get it work. So people are saying performance issues. I know there was crashes on the first day, at least from some of the people I was watching playing.
Is there possibly a support page that has like recommended mods or something then?
I know people are saying buff out. Let's have a look. First off, if you use buff out, you need to remove Bacchus scrap heap from the 4th F4 script extender folder and enable memory management in buffout. You can't have two memory managers. Secondly, the recommended mods must support DLC.
Yeah.
Sets shadow distance to medium.
Memory management one.
Not sure if it's an AMD issue, but it's basically fix the game's performance. All it has to do is fix the crash alarm on Linux. Arch, by the way. Additional mods that help me. 21.9 mod fix scopes. You have to work troubleshooting skills. High FPS physics, load time fix. Okay.
Yeah, that's the other issue. Like, you have like FPS physics issues that I need to deal with and fix. Yeah.
So basically the way this works is you download it from GOG and then you take your copy of where you have it. So if you have it on Steam, you then need to disable cloud saves, and then it'll like take you to, I think it's on Nexus Mods. It's a tool that, so the way that Steam works is it has databases of all of the app IDs of like previous updates. The tool will basically download the last previous stable update for, it'll send a command to the Steam server and say, hey, I want to download the previous build of Fallout 4. It will then download that, and then it will then patch over that version of Fallout 4, and then you launch it through the GOG mod in order to play it.
Yeah.
And then I think if you have it on GOG, you don't need to do any of this because GOG supports previous versions of games. Unlike
you don't have to update the latest one all the time either.
Which is why I was saying like they were saying the Epic Games version wouldn't be supported because you can't use a mod to send off to download a previous build from the Epic Games Store, I'm fairly sure. Whereas Steam's a bit more open that way.
Yeah, so Steam's good you can do that, but like the fact you have to use a tool to do it is annoying, and then GOG is the golden standard where it's just like it just works. Yeah, I think if I was wanted to play this, I would probably just buy Fallout 4 again.
Well, it wasn't because I think you need the Game of the Year edition or a version with all the DLC. As they're using a bunch of the DLC features in the
which is fair enough.
But I think the Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition was on sale on GOG, but it is no longer.
I assume it was around release of this, not anytime after. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I was thinking about playing this, but I've also never really played base Fallout 4. I've played it for about, I think, like 20 hours on Steam or something like that, and that was back in like 2016. But I would like to go back and play the original Fallout 4 first, but with some mods such as basically removing settlements. I don't want to do settlements.
You don't have to do settlements.
No, but it's the constant, like, what's his name? Garvey or something? Where he's
Preston Garvey.
Where he's just like, another settlement is getting, I just want to just remove all that from the game. I'm a lone wanderer, just let me go through the world and explore it. I don't care about that stuff. I don't want Preston constantly popping up and telling me about shit.
Well,
leave me alone.
In the base game, you do have to obviously like to interact with him initially to like progress through to that part of the story. But after that, if you never go back to your hometown, then it's not an actual issue.
Right.
But then the other faction stuff's not that interesting, so I don't know. I think Fallout 4 is a very flawed game.
Yeah. But yeah, I am interested in playing it at some point. But not right now, I don't think. Because I haven't played any of Fallout 4, really, other than when I played it in 2016.
Yeah, I don't think you're missing out personally, but that's fine.
Stormgate came out on the 30th of July. This is the brand new RTS game from ex-developers of Blizzard. So StarCraft, Warcraft veterans who want to go and make their own RTS game. And it's got mixed reviews right now, which is kind of surprising given the caliber of talent behind this team. It is free to play and it's in early access, I believe. So wait, how do you play it free to play? It's free to play on August 13th. So there's an early access pack that you buy now.
And there's $10 stuff you can buy to add to it, as far as I can tell.
Okay, so you can pay now and play it like a couple weeks early, or you can wait and it'll be free to play. Okay.
So there's a £51 Ultimate Early Access pack, a £34 Deluxe pack, and a £22 Early Access pack.
Let's have a look what people are saying about it. You looked at this earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, I was looking through. Basically, some people say there's like some. So one of the I'm obviously a StarCraft. Like I'm from StarCraft. I don't know much about how Warcraft works, but like in StarCraft 2 especially, is like whatever unit looks like what its function is like reflects what it looks like. People complain
Right.
that's not really the case here. Apparently, there's the people complain that the rock paper scissors sort of mechanic where like say like roaches are Zerg roaches in StarCraft 2 are like really good against or banelings are really good against Marines, but then bad against Marauders in StarCraft 2. Is like that's all like the hard counter doesn't really exist here, so it's like a lot of soft counters is just like kind of annoying
You
to
can
play
kind
and then
of
actually
play
harder to
anything
learn.
you want.
Yeah, so then becomes more of an economy thing, and then that's actually harder to learn than like trying to get used to rock paper scissors mechanics.
Right.
So and people what I was concerned about, people were saying there's like the world building and that the story stuff was a bit meh. This is what I was concerned with. Like the actual world doesn't seem that interesting to me. Or the actual like the universe, whatever you want to call it. The story. Like it doesn't like the factions are not strong, in my opinion. And people said I think the art style's fine. People were saying they weren't driving with it. I can understand why.
It's a very
But
like Blizzard,
in
like
my opinion,
StarCrafty, Warcrafty kind of art style.
I personally don't think it's the art style's fault. I think it's the fact you don't care about the factions, in my opinion. I think if there are factions that are more interesting and like you could like latch onto, you wouldn't care about the art style. That's my opinion anyway. It's just that you look at a unit and go, "What is that?" and like you don't have any care about it. It's not so much the art style. But yeah. Anyway.
Well, like as somebody,
one thing I'm trying to find a positive one that went into detail and I couldn't find one. It's like kind of annoying.
Well, so at the moment there's a campaign, group up for 3-person co-op versus AI,
like
or compete in 1v1s.
I think is it a 7-mission campaign or something at the moment.
Is there a story to this right now in early access?
Yeah, there's at least 6. Someone was saying that the first 3 were bad, the next 3 were good, sort of thing. In one of the positive reviews, which did have detail to be fair. But I don't know how many missions there are.
Well, I can play Stormgate lag-free on Gear Up Booster. Download Gear Booster with code Stormgate for... What the fuck is Gear Booster?
Someone was saying it had what's the netcode thing, like the fullback netcode? Someone said that that's working well, so people were happy with that.
Rollback netcode, is that's a fighting game thing though, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently it's important for this as well. I don't know. I thought it was fine in other games, so sure.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe because like for micro stuff, it's really important. Maybe like it's like timing. I don't know why. But people seem to like, fair enough. If it's important, it's important.
Okay. Are you interested in playing this at all, Tony, when it comes out in free to play? Or
I need premise and like store and like factions to be strong to care about these sort of things. All mechanics are just like so different. The problem I have, I look at this and go, "Oh, that's that unit from StarCraft 2, or that's kind of similar to this unit from StarCraft 2." And like, I just rather play StarCraft 2 because they got stronger factions with similar mechanics. Like,
I think it's going to be
to me nothing going for it.
I think it's going to be impossible to play a game like this without constantly comparing it to like Warcraft or StarCraft units, right?
No, I think it is possible. I think the way they've done it, it's impossible. But I think if you went, let's just go for completely different mechanic. Let's go completely out there. What has StarCraft never done? What has Warcraft never done? And like gone complete like weird, like even weirder sci-fi or something. Or like,
I think
I actually wanted to go sci-fi. So it got even crazy like Magitech sort of stuff.
I think the big problem is that they built up the hype of the game by saying, hey, we know Blizzard abandoned stuff like StarCraft and Warcraft, but we're going to keep doing that sort of stuff. So they've gone in the direction of what a Warcraft 4 would look like, what a StarCraft 3 would look like if some of the developers had gone off and made it. And I think that's sort of like the idea behind this game.
But in that case, you needed really strong and good like rock paper scissors mechanics, and if that's something that they haven't done that. I saw someone complain that they've been like a playtester with an open playtester with early access for like the last 9 months, and like not much has changed apparently. So
Okay.
that's concerning to me.
My biggest question is there going to be custom game support? Because as somebody
Yeah,
who played a lot of
that's
Warcraft
important.
3, all I did was play... After I finished the campaign and I played
Yep.
some online, I was like, okay, I'm playing custom games, and I fell in love with tower defense. I fell in love with MOBAs. I fell in love with so many random game modes inside the custom games.
One of the big updates that I thought, I can't remember what enabled this because it technically did it from the start, but one of the big updates, at some point in StarCraft 2, they made updates so like you can make new units easier.
Mm.
And it's like there's some really cool units there, but there's like but adding new mechanics was kind of difficult. So like I just want to make it so you don't make your like own custom looking units and like with different mechanics. That would be huge for a custom game mode sort of system. Because I as much as I like the custom game mode, I think it's really cool. Like I would like RTS like campaigns to be made in like custom games with like new units and stuff. That's what I would want personally.
Let's move on. Thank goodness you're here is an absurd comedy slapformer set in the bizarre northern English town of Barnsworth. So this is made by Coal Supper, who I believe are the people who did Untitled Goose Game. At least they're in this bundle with them, which is why... No, they're not the same people. They're made by House. Why are they in the bundle with them?
It's the same publisher. The same publisher, right?
Same publisher, I guess. Let's have a look. Who's the publisher? Publisher Panic. And Panic. Okay. But then Untitled Goose Game is made by a development team called House.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so they have nothing to do with Untitled Goose Game. I just thought there was a connection based on the bundle. Okay.
Same publisher.
But I thought this game looked pretty interesting as somebody who lives in an English town.
Yeah.
I've been sucking this pipe all morning.
But that's kind of what Untitled Goose Game felt like, was you were a goose that sort of wandered into like a English town and you had to go and annoy people.
Yeah. It's a very,
And this seems like a very silly game in that sort of style where you're just going around sort of annoying, harassing people in a little English town.
Yeah.
But let's see what people are saying about it. And my reviews are not loading. There we go. Usually I review with deadpan one-liners, but this is an absolute gem. It's going to stuff a bit more meat in the pie. I first caught the reveal trailer on Friday morning and spent the whole day itching to get back home to play it. I live abroad now, but I grew up in England, alright. The South, but still. This game made me incredibly nostalgic for the warm vibes of the old stomping grounds. As a kid, I lived for the British absurdist comedies of the 2000s, the IT Crowd, the Mighty Bush, the Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. I love all those shows. Thank goodness you're here captured the spice and had me laughing out loud again and again.
That's good to see.
But yeah. If it's like anything like those shows...
It's hard to get sometimes. So.
Yeah. Smacky Bum Bum. Slap some bums, slap a man's fish until he's satisfied. What? 10 out of 10 would slap again. A charming cross between Carry On films and webtoons. Short but fun ride through a realistic simulation of England. Cool. Yeah, it seems
makes
pretty
you
cool.
Feel like a British person.
Yeah. As somebody who also lives in the South, I think it'll be interesting to visit a northern town, you know.
Yeah, if only it was possible in real life.
Tumba Special Edition came out, which is a enhanced update to the platforming classic Tumba. Let's see what people are saying about it.
I don't think I've ever heard of Tumba, but I might be misremembering.
I don't think I've really heard about it. It's basically sort of a more underground retro game, but it does have like its dedicated fans.
Yeah, it has a cult following, does it?
Yeah, I think it's a cult following sort of thing.
Fair enough.
I saw Tumba and was like, oh my god, my childhood. Upon playing this isn't unlocking any doors, so I'm bound to believe I played Tumba 2, but this game is still amazing. It's the same Tumba I remember from years ago. The updated music is great touch, but you have the option to turn the original soundtrack. Somebody says Minimal effort port. You'd be better results with an emulator. This person did not like the port.
Interesting. Less performance though?
Somebody said, appreciate the updated OS 2 and the rewind feature, but there was no effort on graphics at all. And even worse, developers have not fixed the bugs, including the ones that prevent 130 out of 130 minutes completion. I'm now stuck on 129 out of 130 due to this hide and seek bug. So apparently it seems like it's an emulator packaged up with some extra features, such as rewind.
Yeah.
Which I guess you could do with save states on an emulator.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems alright. Limited run games. Been doing a good job of preserving old games. Speaking of old games, getting updates. Star Wars Bounty Hunter is... I wrote down, did Aspyr fuck this one up? And according to the reviews, they did not, based on the positive review. It's another Star Wars game being remastered by Aspyr. So let's have a look at the reviews. Good, really good, just so I remember it from the PS2 days, and with HDR and upscaled textures. I may get on some people's nerves, but I was always a bit of a rebel, so here goes. New remaster of Bounty Hunter is a solid option, not perfect, but acting like Aspyr somehow did a lazy job. When the vast majority of textures were reworked, lighting improved, material systems introduced. It's just straight up ignorance. First of all, it was never available for PC. It was a PS2 GameCube game. That's quite a bit of effort already. Introducing DirectX 12 rendering. I'm not exactly sure why they consider that DirectX 7 would be enough for this game. Widescreen support, keyboard and mouse support. Having played the game, I would say that Aspyr succeeded. There's even more new modern control scheme for the gamepad. One of the biggest issues is being the lack of rebindable keys. Oh, that's kind of annoying. So that poor Xerty users or Dvorak hipsters can still play the game properly.
Wait,
I
what?
know a
What?
I know a
What?
Xerty. Is a Xerty like...
Yeah.
Do they do a Xerty in France? Is that like a... It's like a European thing.
Well,
Xerty, right?
Germans have the Z where the W is, so I assume Xerty is just like in a row.
I have no idea what Dvorak is. Though. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, what's the Dvorak? Oh, is that? Oh, maybe that's the That might be I think that might be a typing keyboard version. Like if you want like even faster at typing, it like changes the keys around to like be where keys are most common or where letters are most common.
It's put all the vowels on the same row
Middle
on the
row.
left hand side.
Yeah, I have heard of that before.
AOEUI. Do you use Q that much? Is that why it's down here?
No, Q's not used that much.
Or is it like
my issue?
Your hands would be.
My issue is that I don't like the idea of having all the most used keys on the same row. I actually think it should be more based upon how long your fingers are. I think it should be a little bit more. Yeah, I've looked into this and I was like, it's not what I'm looking for. What I would look for. Not that I can change from QWERTY at this point, but if I was going to, that's not quite what I'm looking for.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like they did an okay job on the Star Wars Bounty Hunter game. I've never played this game and I've never really heard about it, to be honest with you.
No.
I kind of missed this Star Wars game.
Idea, though.
Yeah.
Cool idea.
Maybe I'll pick this up at some point. Let's move on to retro emulation. We have Bonk Jam, which, if you could hear, this is playing a remix of the Space Jam theme. Basically, it's another Quake game jam, but the idea is you had to build levels around the concept of this modded hammer that basically lets you bonk it on the floor and send yourself flying up into the air.
That's cool.
Which also has the ability to like hit enemies back with like lots of force.
That's hilarious. Okay.
Which I think is a really cool idea. Because it enables like really quick movement options, which is like a speciality of Quake is like quick movement, but also a new interesting way to fight enemies.
Yeah, movement straight into combat.
I love how you have like skins as well. Like you have the Source Engine error sign. You have like you have like Cloud's Buster Sword.
I saw a burger.
Yeah, they had the Hack Blade from what's it called? Zane Lofton's game. The Hackblade has an S charge.
I don't know.
What's that game called? Oh god, it's on the tip of my fucking tongue right now. It's got a really long name. Oh, Psychos, watch out. It's Slayer X, Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance of the Slayer. One of my favorite shitposts games. Which is really awesome to see. But I was going to look into how to play this, and then I was like, because they did another game. I don't know if it's the same guys, but last year I played a game jam that was Brutalist Quake, where it's basically like a bunch of Brutalist buildings, and then basically, I think it was running on. I just realized that the Buster Sword is using the Final Fantasy AP system. That's pretty cool.
Oh, right.
For the charge bar.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a nice type.
What was I saying? But basically what I did was I imported the map files into... because it was made for, I think it was VK Quake, which is a community source port version of Quake, which is used for modding usually. But I just imported the map files into Quake Remastered, and they just worked. So I was just like, yeah, I'll play on Quake Remastered. One thing with these, it seems like they're very designed to be played with the hammer, so I don't know how hard it would be to get this working on Quake Remastered. I can't really seem to find any information about it, like modding Quake Mastered versus the remastered version versus using a source port. Because I would like to play this on the remastered version, because I played like the original Quake again with Quake RTX, and there's a lot of like features I just really enjoy from the remastered version now that I would find it hard to go back on, such as like the key bindings and various different things. I was going to say the compass, and I was like, no, the compass was out in Quake 2.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. Because you don't really need a compass for Quake 1. Quake 2 is very confusing. It's like lots of interconnected different levels, whereas Quake 1s are just like singular levels.
Oh, simple. Oh, okay, right. It's so simple you don't. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I was going to look up how to do this, and then I forgot. Yeah. And then also in emulation retro news, we have... romhacking.net is calling quits after nearly 20 years. So this is one of the biggest ROM hack websites. So if you were looking for custom versions of old video game ROMs, new versions of Pokemon, or different, like, people have gone back and hacked Super Metroid to add like maps and stuff like that, or just like brand new games inside games. Basically they've said they've really enjoyed being a small team and having a small community and building ROM hacks for their fans. Translate, like, one of the biggest things as well with ROM hacks was translating Japanese only games into English was a very big thing for ROM hacking.
Oh, yes, good. Yeah.
Basically, they said the website has become so big that it is like constantly in 24/7 use, endless queues, endless inboxes. It's very different when it came, and then there's been huge pressure recently with legal issues and takedowns.
Yeah.
And the site shifted from mostly contributing humans to bots and overzealous people abusing resources. So basically, what the website's doing now is they've released the site's database as well as all the files and images to the Internet Archive. So the Internet Archive has all of the files on there backed up. All submissions other than news are permanently closed. All sections of the site will remain up as read-only. Downloads and images will be available for as long as Dark Soul, FC, and Chill Calicolor will allow. Forums will remain open, and Twitter and Discord affiliations have ended.
I think personally, like, another back archive thing should be used. I think more than one should be used for that sort of purpose, personally. But yeah.
Well, the Internet Archive got a bunch of stuff Was it books they lost to recently, where they had to take down a bunch of books?
Well, there was a Louis Crossman video recently. It's like an Australian website got pissed off. I can't remember what they're doing there, but the Australian website actually DMCA'd them to like remove older versions, like throw them because like, they were changing their terms of use, and they like got I got to remove it. It's like, but for some reason they didn't. There's like an Australian version that didn't do it, or did they also backed up but didn't get a DMCA. So I just don't have all the eggs in one basket. I just my opinion, especially if there's legal issues around the thing you're doing. I just think doing more than one.
It's cool to see like ROM hacks, like people making like entirely new versions of Mario 64 and all that sort of stuff. But yeah. I think this stuff will exist. It'll just become less centralized, and there'll be more like dedicated where it's like, oh, we're the hub for Pokemon ROM hacks. We're the website, or like probably like subreddit community now for Mario 64 ROM hacks, and we're the community for Final Fantasy ROM hacks, and stuff like that. Which is a shame to see one of the big ones go down, but I'm sure that the community will stay alive. Then we'll move on to Steam news. The great Steam demo update 2024. Demos are getting an upgrade on Steam. With thousands of new playable game demos launching every year, often as part of Steam's Neckfest, we noticed some trends and feedback from developers and players about changes they'd like to see made to the process and functionality. So we put together an update based on the feedback. Demos now behave better in the Steam library. You can now add demos to your library without immediately installing them. This is really flipping useful for Steam Next Fest. Because basically when I was browsing for demos, I would have to download a bunch of them all at once and then pause them so they didn't immediately all download at once or start downloading so I could keep browsing the store.
Because some of them are really big.
Yeah. So being able to add them to my library and then be like, okay, then I'll download them later when I go to bed or something, that's super useful. Demos can now be installed even if you own the full game. So if you want to specifically download the demo, you can do that. And this will help players more easily manage installing and uninstalling demos. So when you used to uninstall a demo, it was automatically removed from your account. It will no longer... Demos can be explicitly removed from your account by right-clicking Manage Remove from Account. When a demo is uninstalled, it will automatically get removed from your library. I thought they were changing this so you could keep a demo in your library if you didn't want to. Okay. Because that's the current behavior is that demos get removed from your library when you uninstall them. I guess that they like that behavior and they're keeping that. Because some people would like to keep demos on without having them installed.
Option,
But I guess you can add it to your library.
Again, that's a bit annoying though if you want to keep that. Well, I think the default page is there, but maybe I haven't managed to uninstall but don't remove or something would be nice.
One of the really cool things, Tony, is demos can now have a separate store page. So by default, your free demo appears as a button on the base game store page, but it will have a separate page for the demo that's connected to the main page. So
you
standalone
it has multiplayer or not?
Well, the idea is if you go to the non-demo page, it will link back to the store page of the full game, and the demo will link to the store page, and the store page will link to the demo.
But I assume the demo page would have its own list of features like co-op multiplayer sort of thing. And if it
features
doesn't have
of what
it in
the demo has,
it is in the main player. That'd be really useful.
I don't know. I think they would probably just list what the full game was going to have, is what I'm assuming.
Right. Okay.
But that's just a guess. But yeah, so you can enables a separate store page of a demo, which will give you space to better describe the contents of the demo, add screenshots, upload a trailer, and specify supported features. So Steam's allowing devs to say, hey, this might be a single player only demo, but the full game will have multiplayer. But whether devs actually do that, I doubt that they'll actually give a fuck and put the time in.
That's fair. That's become so standard, maybe.
But Tony, really cool thing. Every time I played a demo, I would have to go to the community hub and I would write stuff on the community hub and say, hey, I experienced this bug with the demo, or here's my feedback for the demo. And I'd read other people's feedback. And it was cool, but I felt like not a lot of people used it. What they're doing now is they're enabling user reviews for demos. So because the demo has a separate store page, you can now use the Steam review system to leave a review for a demo in there. And I feel like lots more people will engage with this because I feel like a lot of people don't even know the Steam community forums exist / use them.
Yeah, I know they exist, but I don't really like them.
Yeah, I don't mind Steam forums.
I
like using them, but
for certain things it's fine, but for that I wouldn't want to use them.
But that's really cool to see. So these reviews and review score will appear on your demo store page, just like reviews for any other free game on Steam. If you choose to not have a store page for your demo, the user reviews will not appear for the demo. So if you choose to have a separate page, people can review specifically the demo, which is really cool. Because I think that is really important to say, hey, I may not have liked the demo, but then maybe they'll fix this up, and then the full game comes out and I go, oh, they fixed this stuff, or actually the more expansive game made me really enjoy it. So that is cool to see. Store pages mostly doesn't impact visibility. The Steam store will treat your demo mostly the same way we have enabled a standalone store page or not. One factor that may come into play is if your demo ends up having a bunch of negative reviews, it might be less appealing to potential players and may get filled out of some views if the review score is too low. Of course, the flip side could be true. If players are loving your demo, the positive review signals to other players may boost interest. So, if you have a separate store page for your demo and it's really positive, you'll actually get more people looking at it. But if it's really bad and people don't like it, it could have less views than having it as not being reviewable, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of a risk you have to take. But yeah, demos now behave more like free games and will appear more in the Steam store. They can appear in charts such as new and trending on the new on Steam page and on relevant tag and category pages. This means that launching a new free demo for your game will behave similarly as launching a free standalone game on Steam. Wishlisters will be notified when you launch your demo. We also made it so when you're releasing your playable demo, Steam can send emails to wishlisters of your base game and followers of your developer/publisher, letting them know that there's now a demo out for that game, which I think is a really cool feature. So if I follow a game and be like, oh, I'm interested in this, it's like, hey, there's a demo for this now. You can try that game that you're following. Yeah, and it's like, oh, that's really cool.
That's really useful. Yeah. That's because, sometimes they do it later, you don't know, and you don't think to look at it again.
So my demo is already released. Can I enable a visible demo store page? Yes. Once you set tip was to enable a separate store page for your demo, you might need to complete some additional requirements. If you change your mind, can I disable the visual demo store page? Yes, you can disable it. Can I disable and re-enable my demo? Yes, as was the case with demos for a while now. You can disable and re-enable as you wish. But yeah, what was I going to say? Oh, so a big thing I was seeing recently was a lot of indie developers were doing this thing called the prologue, where instead of releasing a demo through the actual app, they were like, okay, like last Next Fest, I played Tacklebox, the prologue, which is basically like, hey, here's like a standalone version of the thing where you can write reviews underneath it, and we can get feedback through user reviews. And it was super useful because you could be like, okay, I understand this is a small slice of the game and the full game is going to be different. But now having that as an inbuilt thing, I think this is going to really help with those prologue games where basically they're not full games, but they're actually going to be properly tagged as like demos now, and they will link back to the full game. And I think, honestly, I think it's just a much better system overall. It just feels like demos are getting... Valve has looked at Steam Next Fest and gone, oh shit, people actually play demos still, so maybe we should update them and make them better, you know?
Yeah, it's nice
which is really cool to see. Yeah. Let's talk about Blunders. Humble Games. Did you hear Humble Games was restructuring, quote unquote, by firing its entire staff? No. They basically fired everyone at Humble Games and were like, we're restructuring. But the recent restructure is hurting devs and their games. So developers Squid Shock and Stairway are unable to push console updates, and the former is resorting to Patreons while looking for a solution. So basically, because nobody's working there, they can't actually update their game without the publisher.
Because the publisher has to do it, right? Because it can't be a developer that does it on console, which is really dumb by itself. But
Creator of Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus reveals it's been dealt quite a critical blow, particularly with the game's console ports, and a QA support were linked to deal with Humble Deal, which has now hampered post-launch support. Humble News took us completely by surprise, and we are now in a difficult situation when it comes to updating the console ports. Shortly after news of the restructuring, Humble assured that this wouldn't affect the deals it had in place with studios like Squid Shock and Coral Islands created Starway Games. The latter put out a statement last week affirming it too was in a rough spot from the restructure. It had no idea how to push a console hotfix since it only had back-end permission for Coral's Steam version, and suggested Nintendo Switch backers get a key change for Steam. So yeah, it seems like the devs are trying to do everything they can, but it's kind of a shit show over at Humble Games right now.
Surely, okay. I understand like you need like restructuring and stuff, but like surely you need to like if you are still a publisher and like you have contracts to fulfill, like surely you need to keep that side of the contract ongoing as a legal requirement. Like how can you just not have that work?
Like sometimes, bro,
It just seems crazy to me. Like how do you get like if a developer did it, like let's get fucked immediately, but like apparently the publisher just like do whatever the hell they like. I just don't get it.
They've unfortunately fired their complaints department, so nobody can write any complaint to them. You know.
Well, I'm writing my complaints directly to the government because I feel it's just.
My question is, what is going on with Humble right now? Because they're owned by IGN, right? And they seemingly fired their entire publishing arm right now. So I don't know if they're gonna, just get rid of the publishing side.
Are they just hemorrhaging money? It's like that's it. Like this seems so extreme. They must be losing a ton of money. Like surely that's what they're trying to find other solutions that didn't work, and now they're completely run out of money or something. It's what it feels like to me. But obviously, complete speculation. But
I don't know if you've been watching the Olympics this year at all, Tony. I think you have been watching a little bit.
A little bit, maybe, but not really.
I don't know if but every year we usually have a Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games game. I don't know if you've noticed, but we don't have one this year, and that's because the Olympics decided we're going to ditch the Mario and Sonic series to explore NFTs and esports instead.
No one's doing NFTs anymore.
So they've had deals with like Nintendo and Sega to make the Sonic and Mario games, which I remember playing and enjoying quite a lot of. I think it might have been the London one on the Wii, maybe. That I quite enjoyed.
The Tokyo one looked kind of interesting.
Yeah. But I always thought these games were pretty cool. It was a cool way to get people into like Olympic sports. But it seems like they've gone, we're going to try and get more money out of NFT and esports. So
I just don't think that really goes well with Olympics. I think esports should either be in the Olympics, not like be a thing to promote it, sort of thing. I feel like this is like almost like a merchandise for the Olympics. Is how I see it. I feel like that doesn't quite work as an esport thing. And NFTs, I'm not even going to say that's obviously not going to work.
But I don't. Have you seen the IOC has gone elsewhere for this year's Paris 2024? They have an official video game tie-in, Olympics Go Paris 2024, a free-to-play smartphone-focused effort from San Francisco and Seoul-based company Enway, which previously developed several Power Rangers games. There's a PC version of this as well, released via the Epic Games Store. Through screenshots show the same touch controls and basic visuals of its smartphone versions. You can complete in 12 Olympic sports such as archery, gymnastics, 100-meter athletics, swimming, and golf. Oh, and there's NFTs as well, of course. So we've gone from Mario and Sonic at Olympic Games to Epic Games Store free-to-play NFT game.
Yeah. Not quite a gacha game, but gacha game, however you want to say it.
Don't worry. You can claim a legendary or epic pin showcasing the Paris 2024 mascot holding a flag and waving. You can add these digital gems to your collection through Magic Eden's friendly NFT marketplace as part of coin-based on-chain summer event. I don't fucking understand what any of this means, but yeah. Sounds like a scam to me, personally.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait for the rug pull, This is something I was alluding to earlier, which I think is hilarious. Allegedly, Gary Newman received a DMCA notice from the creator of Skibidi Toilet over the uses of his assets in Gary's mod. If you don't know, there's a very popular meme on the internet with younger kids called Skibidi Toilet, which is the Half-Life 2 citizen who sticks his head out of the toilet and he sings to a song that goes Skibidi yibbidi yibbidi dit dit. And then there's also the G-Man as well, is one of the models they use, and there's a bunch of like Half-Life 2 citizens with like cameras on their head. There's a whole YouTube series. I don't watch it. I find it crazy that one of the most popular things with kids right now is literally Gary's mod level YouTube poop, which is what I was watching when I was a kid, and I'm like, how has this survived generations? Well, no, I'm not complaining.
That good.
I'm not complaining. I just find it confusing.
No, I think it makes sense. You just that level of
like, don't get me wrong.
That's the sort of things you like.
When I was a kid, I was watching like the Idiots of Gmod Box and stuff like that. Like I love Gmod YouTube poop and stuff like that. Like I thought it was great. Yeah. But it's crazy. I thought kids would have moved on to like Roblox or something else, by now.
Well, to some extent, though, like this is kind of a tangerine, but like. You get like as a kid, maybe at a certain age it stopped happening, but like as a kid, like you would watch stuff that was actually quite a lot older that you never realized you didn't really care. So I don't think age or how old a piece of content is doesn't really matter as long as it still like makes sense to the kid.
So apparently it turns out that the fuck boom actually put out a statement saying, look, is there a way to contact Gary? I did not strike Gary's mod, and I'm trying to understand what else is written in these letters. I didn't understand what's going on. So apparently recently, the copyright holder basically partnered up with a film and television production studio that is partnering with Michael Bay to work on the Skibidi Toilet film, which is a real thing that's happening apparently. Yeah. The Michael Bay Skibidi Toilet film. But basically, they got the rights to the film, and they went, hey, there's this game called Gary's Mod that has this content that we now have the rights to. So basically, the Hollywood studio got overzealous, tried to copyright strike Gary's Mod on behalf of Visible Narratives, and basically...
without getting in contact with them.
Yeah. So... This is apparently it's been resolved now, but yeah, it's kind of wild that they thought that they could do. I guess it just goes to show you how little they understand about what's actually going. Because they say here that Gary's Mod significant revenue is being generated by unauthorized Skibidi Toilet Gary's Mod games are being advertised elsewhere. There's absolutely no licensed Steam, Valve, Gary's Mod content related to Skibidi Toilet. It's literally the Half-Life. I'm gonna take a guess, Tony, because I've played a lot of Gary's Mod. I feel like it's Half-Life. I feel like it's Half-Life Citizen 8. I'm gonna guess that's the one it is.
You're guessing the exact number. Okay.
Did I get it right? Because when you were in the Gary's Mod spawn menu. Male 08, that's the one I'm going to guess. Did I get it?
Male 08, okay.
No, I got it wrong. It's not Male 08. Which one is it? Male 07! Damn, so close.
But is it like, like the Big Chungus memes? Like, obviously a meme made by people in the community, right? But somehow Warner Brothers has like claimed it's like their intellectual property. It's like, you didn't call it Big Chungus. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Big Chungus on the PS4.
Like, fine, like the look of it. Like, the look of Big Chungus, fine. Like, you can claim that. That's obviously just a manipulated scene of, like, something they own. Like, fine, go for it. But
well, I think if they had a problem
the name
with...
is so dumb.
I think it's funny that they went after Gary's Mod, and...
Yes.
Gary's Mod is using licensed assets from Valve, so...
Yeah.
Hey. There was Oh, go on. What are you going to say?
No, go on. No, go on. I'll continue after this.
No, it's just Gary Newman put out a statement recently about Sandbox because they're opening it up now to more people, and was basically saying, nobody really understands what Sandbox is.
I don't understand what Sandbox is.
So it's sort of like it's the spiritual successor to Gary's Mod in terms of It's basically like a Source 2 version of Garry's Mod. But the idea is eventually you'll be able to code your own games inside it. They've basically rewritten the Source 2 code, and you'll be able to release games inside sandboxes, standalone games, similar to a Garry's Mod.
So it's like a light engine sort of iteration if you're a developer sort of thing.
Yeah, because the thing is with Garry's Mod is you made a game mode and your only option was to go, oh shit, I can only release this on Garry's Mod. How do I monetize it? I guess I have to remake the entire game in like Unity or Unreal Engine. And Gary was basically saying, hey, the idea of sandboxes, you make a game in Source 2 through our engine, and then you'll have the ability to export that and release it as its own standalone product as well that you can get money from. Because he basically said, look, we don't want the hassle of licensing out Sandbox. We just want we just want the incentive of people to use our game to make more games. So the idea is that we're not going to take any royalties from you. Make a game in Sandbox, release it on your own. That's all yours. We don't want any of it, basically.
Literally sell the base thing and then get people to use it.
Yeah, so the idea is that they'll sell Sandbox, or I don't know if I assume Sandbox is going to cost money at some point, but basically the idea will be
you need to buy Sandbox if you want to play these other games, I assume.
You will need to buy Sandbox to play games that are released in Sandbox.
Yeah.
But the way he's saying is he wants it so anyone could take a Sandbox game, take it out of Garry's Mod, and release it as its own game on its own store page that has nothing to do with Sandbox.
Right.
So think of it more like a Black Mesa, where it's like its own standalone game that you can buy and you don't need to own any other game, right?
Right. That makes more sense, yeah.
Because he's saying right now that's not really feasible inside like a thing like because the big thing with Garry's Mod was it's really cool to make games in it, but you can't basically take that outside of Garry's Mod and release it as its own thing. But I think right now they're trying to work with Valve to make it happen. Gary Newman seems to think Valve will be like, yeah, whatever, you can do that, but I don't think he has the big go ahead right now to officially do that yet. But it's cool to see. Anyway, let's move on to.
I was going to ask because the Blunders. Did you include the Intel layoff Blunders then?
Intel. Well, I'm the Intel layoffs. I don't know about this.
They're planning over the next 2 years to lay off. I think something crazy like 20%. I think it's like 20. The number I heard was like 20,000 jobs that aren't to do with fabs. So
my general rule of thumb for layoff stuff is there's been a lot of layoff stuff that I've seen and been like, that's fucking shit. But I usually don't talk about it unless it directly affects games. So the reason I talked about the Humble one was because, oh shit, there's a bunch of games that are being affected by this. It's not that I don't care about it. I think it's fucking awful, but there's not much I personally have to say about layoffs. I'm like, that sucks. This shouldn't be happening. But there's not much else I can comment on it. Obviously, I don't want anyone to lose their job, but it sucks. Microsoft news. Microsoft and Activision have formed a new team within Blizzard to work on smaller AA games based on existing IP. Employees from King and other part of Activision have formed a new team within the Blizzard umbrella. If only there was like a team that was remastering a bunch of old Blizzard games and Activision games. If only there was like a Toys for Bob or something like that, you know. If only there was a Vicarious Visions or something that existed already that was doing this. I honestly don't like. I think it's cool that they're at least attempting this, but I just have very little faith.
I don't trust them.
I have very little faith in
they
both.
Don't seem to know.
I have very little faith in both Activision and Microsoft right now. So
yeah.
Then we have VR news. The PlayStation 2, the PlayStation VR 2 app is up now, and it's releasing on the 6th of August. So when the VR PC adapter comes out, you'll be able to link this up, and you'll be able to use the PSVR with your PC, which is cool to see.
The adapter not out yet?
No, I don't think so. Okay, I think it's probably coming out on the 6th of August, which is why this is not out yet.
I guess so, yeah.
I can have a look. PC adapter release date. What the fuck is this?
What?
Well, I typed it into Google, and Google is giving me an AI overview of a snippet.
Oh,
I'm getting AI stuff on Google, and I have not signed up for this, but apparently I'm getting it.
It's also really bad because I just want to see the links, so this is so much more useful.
Apparently, so the PC adapter will be released on August 7th. Okay. So, according to this AI snippet of generative AI,
I wouldn't trust AI.
It doesn't
It doesn't even give a
hallucinate.
reference or like a
The PlayStation blog says August 7th, so around the time that this releases.
Thanks, blog.
But yeah, cool to see that, because I think the PS VR 2 is a cool headset. It's like, it's one of the few headsets that has like eye tracking. It actually has proper HDR support. Foveated rendering is cool, but that's the support for that is really going to depend on the actual VR games, whereas PSVR 2 games were specifically made to support those features. I do know OLED panels as well, which is really cool because you get that much darker darks. The only problem with the PSVR 2 is you have to give up a lot of motion clarity compared to something like the LCD displays.
When you say motion clarity, is like how accurate it displays the motion, or like is it just like how quickly the refresh rate is?
There's no like motion blur when you move around and look at stuff, right? Like persistence blur and stuff like that. There is almost
OLED has really quick pixel response time.
The way that they've got it set up now, the Quest 3 is one of the best persistent displays on the market right now. And I think you get less brightness because you're pushing out so much light with HDR as well, potentially.
Right.
You can look more interested, but like there is like Meta has done a really good job with the LCD displays, and you are seeing the limits of OLED in VR right now. And I think that the PSVR 2 is a really cool headset, and it has its positives, but the Meta Quest 3 is also, I would say, one of the best PC VR headsets right now for a lot of reasons.
Wireless compared to the Meta Quest 3.
Yeah, and it's more expensive.
I think I prefer. I think the controllers are worse with the PSVR 2.
I don't know, because they are DualSense controllers, and I do like the DualSense controller, but I've never used the VR ones. One of the reasons I saw is
like because they still have the round thing on it, right? So they still like if you do stuff too close to it, like you still hit itself. Just like kind of annoying.
Yeah, they connect via Bluetooth, the controllers as well. I'm not sure about that.
Do they?
Yeah, I don't know about many controllers of.
I've not heard any complaints about the reviews I've seen for PSVR 2 though, but I don't know, especially for the PC version, how it goes, because PC has worse.
Let's move on to business news. Warner Bros. Has officially acquired the developers of Multiverses. Rest in peace to that studio, as they've been acquired by Warner Brothers, who famously shuts down studios for tax write-offs. So yeah, Player First Games, the developers behind Multiverses, which I guess the re-release of the re-release of Multiverses has come out, and it doesn't look great to me. And so Warner Brothers picking them up and buying them just seems kind of confusing. But
are they using a lot of Warner Brothers copyright stuff?
Yes.
So I think that makes sense in terms of that. I think, I think to me it's like neutral in terms of like what the game direction. I feel like that was already directed by Warner Brothers. I
wouldn't be surprised in a couple of years we hear about Player First Games being shut down for a tax write-off. That's all I'm saying.
I also feel like it means as well. There's definitely no hope that it'll become less bad monetary.
Probably not.
Stuff. Before there's any hope that it might change.
And apparently, World of Warcraft workers have voted to unionize the popular video game franchise. Organized labor's new foothold at Microsoft Corp by around 500 employees.
That's pretty big.
Yep. So more unionization. I think because recently Bethesda just unionized over at Microsoft. So we're seeing this more and more.
And
which
there's
is cool to
more
see.
and more pressure in the US, like not block unionization as well.
Yep. But that is the end of the podcast. You can check us out youtube.com at Everything In Between Podcast, twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live, at Scorn2000 on Twitter, shows.ocast.com/everything-in-between-podcast. For the audio only version, there'll be links to Spotify and Apple Podcasts on the episode, and you can check us out there, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.